It is lovely. I'm so excited today to be with my friend and fellow InScribe member, Barb Fuller. Hello, Barb.
I'm Tracy.
Yes, and today we're talking about the new InScribe anthology that is coming out from InScribe Press called Creativity and Chaos, Artistic Endeavors for Trying Times. So excited about that. It'll be launching in September of 2024. And Barb has a piece in the anthology. So we want to talk about that today. So your piece is actually a memoir, and it's called A Light Within. Can you tell us a little bit about the piece itself and maybe what inspired you to write that piece and submit it?
Okay, so the piece itself is the story of two tragedies in two families' lives, and how they sort of interconnected, one of those families being mine. And I actually wrote the piece in a very different version quite a while back, basically for my grandchildren. So I I was inspired to write it because the result of one man's creativity has been something that my family has enjoyed for years and years. And I have it right here. I just pulled it out of a box, and I don't know if you can see it, but this is the little church
Uh,
that, can you see that?
yeah, I think it's blurred a little bit,
Yeah,
but I can definitely,
closer.
oh, it's like a
But
model of a church. Nice.
yeah, yeah. And this is what was made by the the man about whom I wrote part of the story.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so
Oh,
that church is what inspired me
oh,
to
wow.
write it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's interesting to me because, of course, most of the pieces do reference the Lord or, faith, um, which makes sense because Inscribe is a Christian organization. But now, like, I'm just thinking, okay, well, there's trials here too, so maybe you
mhm.
need to give us a little bit
A
more.
little bit more. So I'm a widow, and my husband died quite tragically, and the story is a little bit about that, but it's also about how his faith inspired the person who created this church.
Oh,
And so there was a little bit of, it's hard to sort of just describe it briefly, but my husband Jerry had a pastor's heart and a rich faith, and he ministered to this family. And then Jerry's faith was something that affected a lot of people. So the title is The Light Within, and the fact that that light continues to shine in other people's lives as well.
mhm.
That makes sense.
Well, you know, I think that's a really great example. And I'm knowing a little bit about your actual story. I'm sure it's going to be a very profoundly moving piece. We're just trying not to give spoilers, right? Am I allowed to say that your husband was murdered? I think that to me, that feels like an important
Sure.
part of the
Yeah.
understanding, because not only was it tragic, I mean, car accidents are tragic and cancer is
Mhm.
tragic and there's a lot of tragedy, but it wasn't that. It was a sudden and brutal uh,
Mhm.
taking of his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
yet somehow God's used that situation, I know, in multiple ways to further the kingdom and bless people, which is kind
yeah.
of.
And what I try to address in the story is that um that there is darkness, but there's also light, and so I don't know if this is a, what do you call it, a giveaway?
Oh, that,
Spoiler.
yeah.
But so this little church that we have had for almost 40 years, the roof doesn't come off it. You can't remove the roof, but so it's been the same the same light bulb has been in there all this time.
Wow.
And every Christmas, I don't know if you can see the lights.
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
That light bulb has come on every Christmas when we light it up. It comes on again. I keep saying, how long, Lord?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
Oh,
it
that's
just seems
cool.
like an almost miraculous reminder. And inside the little church, it's all detailed, and I describe that a bit in my story of the detail of the church.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
it's kind of it's kind of neat because right now the I've just moved back to the area where all this happened.
Hmm.
And I will be planning to go and visit the actual church that we were at the time that
Yeah.
this one was modeled after.
Oh, wow.
So
That's really cool.
it's kind of full circle here right now.
Yeah. Well, and I really see where it fits in with the theme in terms of the anthology, like the creativity piece and the chaos piece and you know the
Yeah.
growth, I guess, and the miraculous things that can come out of even the most trying of times.
Yeah. 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 So, and I'm hoping while I'm here to reconnect with the daughter of the man that made it.
Oh,
Um,
I'm sure she would love that too, to see
yeah,
his handiwork.
yeah, because I had lost track of her, but I I made some emails and made some contacts, and I think I'm going to be able to find her. So
So for those people who don't know, at the time of this recording, anyways, Barbara is the current president of InScribe. Although you've taken a little bit of a sabbatical to move across the country from British Columbia to what? It's as far as you can go, from west to east. But I know we've really, as a member, I've enjoyed your leadership in the organization, and you're also like you've done a lot of writing in Bible studies and devotionals and things like that. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about your other writing or your writing
oh,
journey?
sure. Well, I've done writing all my life because, well, I always did, but then I was a pastor, so I wrote a few sermons. Uh, I'll be writing more in the future. And but I've written 4 Bible studies, 2 on the Gospel of John, 1 on First Peter, and 1 on the Psalms. And currently I am working on my memoir and a memoir. So basically the memoir, which they say is a slice of life, is about the tragedy of my husband's death and the events surrounding that and how God worked in and through that period of time. So being back here in Nova Scotia is an opportunity for me to reconnect with the people who share those memories with me and who can help me remember the things that many things I've forgotten and details. So I'm excited about yeah, really getting this memoir done.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm a believer in, everything is in God's time, and perhaps you needed a certain amount of space,
Hmm.
in order to be able to process and be able to write objectively about that experience. Um,
Yeah.
and then to me, it's really cool that you have moved back to that same
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So I'm excited to be um, writing and to be able to be part of this anthology and looking forward to reading the whole thing and seeing all the stories.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lovely variety, I have to say, because I've been I haven't read everything obviously, but interviewing people, and there's poetry, there's fiction, there's memoir, there's humor, there's just a whole really nice variety, and yet it all seems to really tie together nicely, talking about how creativity is often a wonderful outlet for or way of dealing with chaos, and vice versa. Sometimes the chaos
Mhm.
inspires the creativity, and
Yeah.
nice to see you and to talk to you, and thank you so much for stopping unpacking your boxes and joining me today. And I'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah.
God bless.